I just want to go back to legacy auto because one of the things that Barry talked about was the EV competition's coming. And we have analysts like Gary Black continuing to say, oh, you guys, all you bulls say that, Tesla was going to just kill all these auto companies. And yet there are many competitors. Yes, there are many competitors. None of them, except for Tesla, has shown that they're profitable, but they're still alive. But listen to this. Of all this just happened this week. Okay. Number one, Stellantis chairman, John Aiken, openly warned the European car industry that they're going to face irreversible decline. He's begging the regulators to ease carbon monoxide rules. Volkswagen just announced that they've partnered with Chinese brands to make Volkswagen branded cars, but not only to sell in China. They're now going to use that to export around the world. This is something that they said they'd never do. It is basically a sign of surrender. You got the Mercedes-Benz CEO announcing that he has one last chance to put the automaker back on track. Otherwise, it's over for them. You've got the Mercedes-Benz. You got hold on a second here. You got BYD, third straight month of declines. Okay, now this is after they were propping it up with fake numbers. Now it truly is third month of EV, drops, but nobody's reporting it. You don't hear that anywhere. And then Ford's Jim Farley, he said Ford missed Japan, Ford missed South Korea. We can't miss China, and of course they are missing China. Their numbers in China is just falling off a cliff. So he made a message to the team that, respect the competition from China. Everyone in the company should. I mean, yeah, they're not dead. It'll probably be years before they die. But, I mean, I don't know if you think somehow they're going to get out of this. Maybe they will. Jeff, do you have a comment on any of those?
The Volkswagen move is a death. They're in a spiral. If they're giving their designs to China to fabricate, and basically JDM with joint development, joint design and development and manufacturing with Chinese brands, what they've basically done is they've taken their total absorbed COGS structure in Europe, which, highly underutilized factories, their costs are going through the roof. Their suppliers' costs are going through the roof. And what they've done is they said the marginal differential between that and outsourcing it to China and bringing it back under tariff is now low enough where it makes sense for them to actually do that. So they're in the midst of a death spiral when you're in that position. Companies don't reemerge from things like that. It may extend things for some period of time. Maybe they license their brand and there's a licensing deal where, they'll get income from that. But that is essentially a death spiral. And this is why for Tesla retail show, there's not going to be another auto company. The end is not going to be linear for these companies. It's not going to be abrupt. It's not going to be linear. For some it may, but for many, it'll be a long winding road. They may license their brand. They may outsource. They may get a government loan or a parachute or a investment and extend things. So just don't bet on that. But at the core of this, something fundamentally has to be done different. Like they have to figure out there's a COGS target, and they have to figure out how to get to it in every region that they sell product, or they're dead. And I am not convinced that China has figured out how to build outside of China and do it successfully and do it profitably and get the scale. I'm not saying they won't. I'm saying that they haven't demonstrated that.
Oh, that's a good point. We'll see. But yeah, that seems to be a death spiral. You guys want to talk about this research that Bradford Ferguson and Rebellion Air shared about, the potentially Elon selling shares 30 days after November 6th. he has a decision with what is some sort of A3B regulation that he can sell shares and pay taxes now ahead of a future gain in the future. Alexandra, can you speak to that, if that's any truth to that? Did we lose her? I think we lost her. Anybody have comments on this? First of all, it's not a bad news if it is true. Even Bradford said the same thing, that if he actually sells shares this week, which is December 2nd to December 6th, it's actually good news, because that means he expects to hit his targets, and he's trying to prevent more tax payments in the future, which is perfectly set up fine, and it's probably part of the proxy statement that allowed him to do that. So it should be a non-issue for anybody. Nobody should freak out that Elon's selling shares. But it doesn't make sense, because he just bought $1 billion worth of shares a month or so ago. And why would he now? And he knew it at that point, didn't he? So why would he do this?
Yeah, the only thing I'd say is I haven't studied the 83B provision per se. I just know it just from 2021 to today, Elon has a lot more sources of capital. And I don't know what's in the new compensation package and what he's allowed to do, unstructured, not part of a 10b5-1 plan. I don't know what he's allowed to do. And then finally, I would have hoped he would have learned from the 2021, 2022, and all the unstructured open market selling and what that did to the equity value. It didn't feel like he cared at the time, or he didn't want to make a deal with certain banks, but I think he does care about retail shareholders. But anyway, we'll have to see what happens. Again, every CEO of every company at some point has to pay taxes, has to sell. But I think Tesla has put on, for the last 6 months, one of the greatest showings in terms of like, what is the future value of this company? What do we need to compensate the CEO to retain him to generate that? Oops, did I disconnect?
No, I can hear you.
Oh, yeah. And how do we have to compensate the CEO? Like, there's been no greater buildup or demonstration of what a company and their board think of the future value of the company than what Tesla has done over the last couple of months. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. It's a lot of words there. I don't know. We'll see what happens. And I don't know anything with trying to predict one person's finances with that kind of certainty. To me, it's a little bit of hubris. It's interesting to speculate on. I don't know how you can speak with certainty on it.
Yeah, I think Alexandra left. Tesla Yoda or Sat, do you guys have comments on this?
No, I think if whenever Elon sells his shares materially, there's always been a good reason, whether it's for the acquisition of Twitter, paying taxes, there's always it's always not because he isn't optimistic about Tesla. So I think if the stock reacts negatively, it's just more by an opportunity for me. And again, expect a lot of noise from the media as Tesla starts to approach unsupervised robotaxi service in Austin. It's bound to happen within the next 30 days. So that's really the signal that I'm looking for. Everything else is noise.
Yeah, makes sense. Sandra, did you have a comment on this? Did you look into it?
Regarding the
Potential sale?
the sale.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I
nothing
thought
burger.
Brad.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it's important for short-term price movements. Like, I'm anticipating it, so I'm glad that it's been put on the radar, because that can create a lot of short-term pressure. But ultimately, it makes sense that that he would elect to keep as much as possible from the tax perspective. But then again, if it costs him shares, perhaps he'd finance it from a different company, so that way he maintains the maximum voting rights. And sorry for the babies in the background. I'm actually at the Boring Bodega after a nice tour with the family at Giga Texas.
Boy, you can't get enough. Giga Texas. That's hilarious. I think it's a good sign. If this actually happens and they do announce at Form 4s that he did this, actually it's a great sign. That means that he's planning ahead, that he's going to grow the company so big that he needs to pay a big amount of tax, and he wants to pay some of it ahead of time. $15 billion worth of it ahead of time. Good. Okay. Well, thank you guys very much. Appreciate that. Thank you, Omar.
Can I say one more thing on the tax thing before we close?
Oh, please. Yeah.
So, I love Bradford and Matt. Bradford took me to Disneyland the last time he was in LA on a VIP tour with his kid. So hats off to him. But I've definitely seen them post videos before where they've said, we figured out that Elon's going to sell. Here's our reasoning. And then he didn't end up selling anything. So it's really kind of speculation. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't, but I don't think it kind of definitively proves anything with regards to his tax reporting strategy. I mean, obviously, he just accepted this huge compensation plan, and the compensation plan has milestones that are dependent on market cap, aka a function of share price, right? So I don't think he necessarily wants to, make it more difficult to achieve those milestones if it can be avoided. I wouldn't worry too much about whether he's going to sell or not. And if I had to place a bet on whether he's going to sell this week, I would probably bet that there are no significant transactions.
Yeah, agreed. Thank you for that comment. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you again next week. Bye, all.
Yep. See ya.